coming through okay. Awesome. Thank you for those likes. All right. We are good. If you're joining me live, welcome. Perhaps you submitted a question and are hoping to see that question answered. Perhaps you're just curious about what we're going to be talking about. You are welcome here. I would love to know who you are, where you're joining from. Please do say hello in the chat. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions because I wanted to get through as many as I can. However, if as you're watching this and listening to this, if you have additional follow-up questions to what I said, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to answer questions and to help. So I welcome your engagement in the comments. If you are catching the replay, that's awesome too. Hashtag replay will bring this back up in my notifications and make sure that if you have any follow-up questions, you can also ask those. So the couple of topics we're talking about today. One, PT, Psych Today. Always a hot topic, always. We continue to see Psych Today perform well, and so some folks had some good questions around making the most of that. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about PSYPACT, which really is gonna be applicable not just to PSYPACT providers, but to people that are licensed in multiple states. So we're gonna talk a little bit about strategy there. We're going to be talking about certifications in your marketing. This clinician was wondering specific to our Confident Copy program if people get better results, but I think there's actually a broader question to be answered is, do additional certifications, training, education help my marketing? That's a good one. Good niche markets that people have used. A really good question. I can talk about niches all day long. If you're used to hanging out with me, you know that niching is like my favorite thing, so we'll talk about that. Attracting more self-pay clients, particularly high-achieving perfectionists. Anyone else enjoy working with high-achieving perfectionists? Anyone else a high-achieving perfectionist? And then last but not least, how important is it to have a Facebook page for marketing and SEO? Is it important to post on it regularly and to have it active? So we are covering a broad range of topics here today, and chances are at least one of those is relevant to you. So let's dive in. Let's talk about Psych Today. I actually sent out an email this week in regards to Psych Today because despite the sort of slowdown that we noticed in 2023 with many clinicians saying, the phone isn't ringing, Psych Today doesn't work for me anymore, the data actually shows us that it is continuing to work. Now, it's not working in the same way. You used to be able to like change your profile and get 6 clients the next day. That is not our reality anymore. However, for a very, very low cost, $30 a month, we are seeing positive return for folks. So therefore, we consider it a wise marketing strategy. You're not having to put regular effort into it the way you would if you're posting on social media, things like that. So it really is a worthwhile strategy. So we got 2 questions specific to Psych Today, and I wanted to address both. One, what should we put in our Psych Today video? Glad you're thinking about that. And any suggestions on what to include in Psych Today profile to get more clients? Basically, SEO or search engine optimization for PT profiles. So I have some training specific to Psych Today here in the group that if you're curious about, let me know. We can always tag you in those or drop the link below. But I think it's funny this person referred to as SEO for Psych Today because Psych Today is in its own way a search engine. People are inputting information and receiving results. Now, it is not an algorithm that we can hack the same way that we can SEO because at its core, fundamentally, Psych Today's algorithm is randomized. And some folks forget that or don't realize that. They're like, I'm on page 10. Well, today you're on page 10. Tomorrow you might be on page 1, and the next day you'll be on page 100. So that is true. However, what we've seen be true kind of anecdotally, and Psych Today doesn't tell us anything about this, but what we've seen anecdotally is that there is an algorithm at play. It's not just purely random. So that's why you're going to hear things like update your profile regularly or try these little hacks and things like that. We agree with those in general. So what to include in a Psych Today profile to get more clients. What's really important at the end of the day on your Psych Today profile are the words that you use. That is the most real estate you have, right? Or are those paragraphs, those statements. We got to have words that are super, super, super clear to your ideal client. We continue to see, and this gets a little bit into the niching question later on, the more specific your niche, the more targeted your copy, the better your results. Now, if you write a Psych Today profile that is hyper-focused on one of your particular ideal clients, maybe you work with moms, teens, and offer EMDR, whatever. If you write a Psych Today profile that is laser focused on those moms, are you going to get as many phone calls? Probably not. Are those phone calls going to be from moms who fit the bill of your ideal client? Most likely. And so the recommendation when it comes to just how you write your profile is that it be quite specific. And if you target at one client, even if you and your practice serve multiple, Psych Today, we recommend having multiple versions of your profile, each of which is geared toward the different types of clients that you serve. So if you have 3 specialties in your practice, consider having 3 different Psych Today profiles that you rotate and that you can test and see what people really respond to. The other things that are really important in optimizing your profile are the video, which this person asked, what do you put in your Psych Today video? You need to complete this profile to its fullest. Of the thousands, literally thousands of clinicians that I've supported with Psych Today, I think 4 of them have been excited about making their video. So if you aren't excited about making your video, you're in good company. You still need to do it. That is one thing Psych Today does tell us and that we can clearly see. You will show up more often in search results if you have a video. We're talking 15, 20 seconds max, where you are going to, this person asked what to put into your profile, share about your specialties, share a little bit about what it's like to work with you or what you help your clients accomplish, and invite them to take action. Hi, my name is Anna. I specialize in working with women and moms who are dealing with people pleasing and perfectionistic tendencies. I love to help them unravel that and start leaning into who they really are. Visit my website to schedule a free consult. I look forward to hearing from you. Specialties, what you help them do, invite them into action. That is what we recommend for that video. You only have 15 to 20 seconds. I talk really fast, so I can probably pack more into 20 seconds than you might, but this is not something where you can drone on and not something that needs to be super overwhelming, but you got to get it in there. So what to include in your Psych Today profile, really targeted copy, complete it to its fullest. Every statement you can fill out, do fill out. If you're looking for help with this, with your Psych Today video, with those statements, our Psych Today Success Pack, we continue to see folks get great results with it. It's $77. WalkerStrategyCo.com/PTSP, just those numbers or those letters, PTSP. But that is what we recommend from a Psych Today perspective. So thank you for those questions, relevant to most clinicians, as many of them are on Psych Today. And if you have follow-ups, feel free to use the comments. All right, next up, we're going to talk about PSYPACT. So this clinician said for individuals trying to market in multiple states, so this is a PSYPACT psychologist, so more than 39, but you yourself may be licensed in, a handful, 2, 3. How can I make sure to be reaching as many spaces as possible through my website? Anything I can add to my website that will have me showing up in multiple states? Great question. It is very tempting to, as you gain licensure in another state, to think, well, I've just added on millions of other people in another state, millions of additional potential clients, and I just sort of expect those clients to come running. Getting clients in other states is not as simple as just getting licensure there. And I think this person asking this question was most probably specifically talking about SEO. Unfortunately, especially as the sort of SEO space for therapy gets more and more saturated, you probably know that whatever location you're in, there's probably lots of other therapists around you. You are very, very unlikely to rank in multiple states organically on Google with your website. These days, the strategy we recommend, even if you are licensed in 1, 2, 3, 39 states, is to choose a home base for your marketing. So it's going to be a city, a county, an area, perhaps an entire state if you're in a less populous state. But choosing a home base and letting that be where Google focuses your kind of SEO around. When I go looking for a therapist here in Nashville, I am served Nashville-based results. Google provides results for therapy queries that are geographically related to where that client is. Now, your ability to rank in 39 states for your specialty is just, it's very, very difficult and very, very unlikely. What is more likely is that if you lean into and double down on marketing in your home base area, you can actually start ranking quite well in that area. You can be licensed in as many states as you'd like. Chances are you're still going to get most of your clients within like a 15 to 20 mile radius of where you are physically located. If your goal is to grow your presence, if your goal is to get clients from additional markets and additional states and areas, we suggest 2 things. 1, in general, be as present in that state, in that market, in that area as you would be if you lived there. I'm talking about doing local networking. I'm talking about getting connected to local, entities, doing local networking, joining Facebook groups for clinicians in that local area. What would you do if you lived there? Those are the actions you need to take in those other markets to get clients and gain awareness in that space. Because we can't rely on Google to be serving you up in every single state that you're licensed in. These days, that's just quite challenging. The other thing you can consider, if you are licensed in multiple states and have a solid website, is you can consider Google Ads. Google Ads allow you to target a particular market area location and serve results there. So you might run grief therapy ads in, I'm based in Tennessee, in Kentucky, wherever else I'm, Colorado, wherever else I'm licensed, and you can actually target people that are there and drive traffic to your website in that way. So that is paid traffic, right? We're paying to send people that there because it's unlikely that you're going to be getting that free organic Google traffic in that way. So the two ways you can become and create awareness in other markets outside of where you currently are is to pretend that you're there and to take actions that you would if you were there, right? So to get involved and to create awareness about your practice in those other areas, and or pay to get those locations eyeballs on your website. Because just relying on your website, oh, I'm licensed in 39 states, Google's going to be like, cool. We don't really we're not really honing you in on one specific area. So rather, we have a Confident Copy alumni who is based in Baltimore, but is also a PSYPACT clinician. She doubled down her marketing on Baltimore, and she does very well SEO wise in Baltimore. Now she always makes mention that she's a PSYPACT provider and she can serve these number of states. So if you're in these states, great. Make sure that you're in a PSYPACT state, and let's work together. But she wasn't putting all of her eggs in the PSYPACT basket. She was putting at least her SEO eggs in the local market basket. So that's a recommendation for multiple locations there. So if that's something that you're wondering about, hopefully that gives you some helpful actions. Alrighty, a couple more questions. I'm not seeing any comments come in, so hopefully that means you guys are feeling really good about this. But I want this to be as helpful as possible. And if you have follow-up questions, to have a chance to answer those. All right, the next one, a really common question we get is, do I need more trainings to be successful in my marketing? This person asked specifically, do clinicians who have a lot of certifications tend to be more successful with the Confident Copy program? If you're not familiar with Confident Copy, that is our group coaching program, our marketing mentorship, where we help clinicians write their websites, get clear on their niches, attract ideal fit, full fee clients. She said, I don't have any. I just have training in modern psychoanalysis and emotional focused therapy, and have been a therapist for a long time. All right. Specific to Confident Copy, the answer is no. Do clinicians who tend to have who have a lot of certifications tend to be more successful? They don't. But this begs the larger question, do certifications matter in your marketing? And I want to be really clear here that pursuing additional certifications does make you a more valuable clinician, a more adept clinician. It allows you to serve your clients better, to help them achieve better outcomes, all kinds of things. they are valuable things to be doing. They are not the measuring stick of your marketing. Clients are looking for an expert in the problem that they're facing. And some clinicians really are averse to the term expert, and I know that. So if something comes up for you as I say that word, I hear you. But the fact is that that's what your clients are looking for. They are not determining whether you are an expert based primarily on your training or certifications. Now, if they have a very specific thing in mind, a very specific challenge in mind, to know that you're certified in that area boosts your credibility, but it is not where your credibility lies. That's actually what we teach in Confident Copy. We see pre-licensed clinicians get great results from Confident Copy because they're leaning into their expertise and their areas of specialty. Is there room for them to grow? Absolutely. But they are seeing the fact that clients are choosing them because these clinicians are connecting with them, empathizing with them, showing them how they can help. Certifications coming sort of secondary. So I would, whether you join Confident Copy or not, I mean, that isn't the thing here. What I want you to really, really be okay with is that getting additional certifications are not actually, that's not actually something that's likely going to drive momentum in your marketing. It's more so momentum in your client retention, in your client results. It's once they get in the door that those certifications really, of course, you actually start to get practicing and put them into action. But just being able to put them on your website is not necessarily going to drive increased results for you, because that's not how clients are making decisions about which clinician they're going to choose. Does it lend you credibility? Yes. Is it the thing that is driving your credibility? No. And so I hope that that's helpful and empowering to you. Like I said, people at all levels of licensure, at all levels of experience, at all levels of certification have gotten great results in Confident Copy because we are learning how to connect with those clients, meeting them where they are, inviting them to take action, with certifications not being the primary thing there. So I hope that was helpful for you. Alrighty, next up, what are some examples of good niche markets that people have used? I'm trying to understand how to take my generalist background and find a niche that is sizable enough to support my income needs. All right, so this is a really, really good question. And there's lots of angles I can take on it. What I first want to sort of call out here is that choosing a niche as a generalist, if you identify as a generalist, picking a niche based on its size, its saturation, all of these things in order to reach your goals is not how we would recommend choosing a niche. Your niche is not so much the very specific population that you serve that represents 200,000 people in your state. Your niche is the work that you do best with the clients you do that best work with. So you are likely this person who asked this question, and forgive me, I didn't include names here, and I apologize that I can't address you by name, but as a generalist, you still do your best work with a certain type of person. You still do your best work with a certain type of presenting issue. There is still a reason that your clients choose you and not someone else. That is your niche. That's it. And we just have to get clear on what that is. So I would encourage you against feeling like you have to narrow the work that you do in an effort to niche yourself and reach your goals, and instead just get clear on whatever that best work that you do is. We've absolutely supported clinicians who could be considered generalists, but we got clear on who are you a generalist for, or what kind of generalist are you? Because not everyone is the right therapist for everyone. So we just have to get clear on who are you the right therapist for and position your marketing around that. Now, the beginning of this question is, what are some good examples of good niche markets that people have used? One thing that we are seeing, that we saw in 2023 and continue to see so far this year, is what we call sort of the emergence and the importance of micro niches. Micro niches are very, very specific niches, hence the name, that sit alongside the more general ones. So a good example of a micro niche would be maybe you offer anxiety, pretty general. Many people come into therapy with that, but you have a micro niche of climate anxiety, which is a very, very specific type of anxiety and very specific challenge that people are coming in with. People pairing micro niches with some more general niches are doing really well. And micro niches will likely continue to drive traffic and be helpful for them moving forward in an SEO perspective, from a marketing perspective. So I could coach this clinician specifically till the cows come home on their niche. But what I want to kind of point out for you here is that you do not have to narrow or exclude an area or population of work that you love to do if you love to do it in the name of choosing a niche or in the name of getting more clients or making more income. I don't actually usually see that associated where someone's like, well, I used to serve this many people and now I serve this many and my practice is successful. If you serve this many people and you love all those people, then let's figure out why and clarify your marketing around that. If you serve this many people and you're realizing I actually love these people, cool, then let's narrow down, but don't do it just in the sake of being told you need a niche, because you actually, from my perspective, you already have one. That said, I would consider adding in that kind of micro niche piece. And if there are specific populations presenting issues, whatever that might be that you enjoy, bring that into your marketing as kind of an addition. Alrighty, I see one question related to PSYPACT. Leah, do I think that PSYPACT will ever become a keyword search item? Oh, well, it already is, but it's not usually a search item. People already look for PSYPACT. I don't think that clients have the awareness of PSYPACT to go looking for a PSYPACT clinician. Might they become a little bit more aware of it? Maybe, but I don't see that being like a primary like marketing keyword or marketing driver for people, because clients are going to sit down and be like, I know what I need. I need a PSYPACT clinician. Clients are going to sit down and be like, I know what I need. I need a trauma-informed clinician, or I need EMDR, or I need brain spine, whatever. They are thinking more about their actual specific needs and not so much what type of provider it is. I think the only time we might see clients make use of PSYPACT is if they are have been informed about it already by a clinician. So maybe they're moving, and this clinician says, "Oh, can you consider a PSYPACT clinician or something?" So I don't foresee it becoming something that kind of the lay population is using. But if you are a PSYPACT clinician, you should absolutely have that on your website in the event that people around you come looking for it. So. Alrighty, two more questions. I've been flying through these, but I hope they've been helpful for you. And of course, I'll be tagging the folks that ask these questions so they can come back and catch those. How to attract more self-pay clients, particularly high-achieving perfectionists. If you are watching this video and you enjoy working with high-achieving perfectionists, like this video. Because high-achieving perfectionist, I think, is just from the number of clinicians that I support. So inside of our Confident Copy program, I support hundreds of clinicians a year, and I'm the niche coach. So if you need help with your niche, I'm who you're working with. And so I get exposed to a lot of different niches, and a high-achieving perfectionist, like motivated, kind of driven, people-pleasing tendency type people, one of the most common groups that people are trying to attract. So I don't say that to scare you. I say that because I think that there's a huge market for it. And you're not alone in wanting to attract those types of people. So how to attract more self-pay clients. I mean, I could go on and on about this, and there's lots of ways to answer this question. What we see be most impactful for people when attracting self-pay clients is one, a clear niche. Your niche has to be something that your client identifies with. And so anytime we get into these kind of descriptors or these groups like high achieving perfectionists, does your client know that they are a high achieving perfectionist? Or do they think that's just how everyone else is? Does your client know that they are motivated? Does your client know that they are insightful or self-aware? If they don't, then that can be your niche and kind of who you know you're talking to, but you've got to get really clear on how do they identify. A niche is so important in attracting self-pay clients because, like I was talking about earlier, your clients are looking for an expert in the problem that they're solving. And the clearer your niche and the better that niche resonates with who this client is, the problems this client is experiencing, the things that this client wants to accomplish, the experience this client is looking for in therapy. Your niche can be any of those things, but the more that your niche aligns with those qualities of your client, the more that they're going to view you as the expert that they've been looking for. So maybe I don't identify as a high achieving perfectionist, but holy cow, do I identify with setting impossibly high standards for myself, having checked every box in my life and still feeling like something is missing. And so if I want to attract these types of people, I have to use that type of language so that they're like, holy cow, you are calling me out. I feel seen. That is the goal of your niche, and your niche has to meet your client at their point of need and at the challenges that they themselves are aware of. So that niche has to be crystal clear, but it can be a lot of things. As I was just sharing earlier, it doesn't mean you have to be super, super narrow and only serve one group of people, but it does have to be compelling to this person. What else you need for attracting self-pay clients? You need more than ever a premium level website. 5 years ago, if you had solid copy on your website, design was like good, fine, mattered, but not as much as it did. These days, both of those things have to be locked and loaded. If I am looking around for a therapist and I'm prepared to hand over $200 an hour to the expert that I know is out there, and I land on a website that is outdated, that is unclear, that does not make me feel seen, that does not drive action, and that just doesn't match the kind of the level of service that I'm expecting, I'm probably gonna be hesitant to hand that $200 an hour over. Premium level websites attract premium level clients. Premium level websites are in many ways that, like, a premium level website is in many ways accomplished through design, but it has to be paired with those really, really powerful words. So beautiful boutique style websites tend to attract higher level clients. And so that has to be a priority. Now, the other thing about self-pay clients is understanding and sort of getting into the mind and the brain and the shoes of that client. How does someone decide how to find a therapist? This is different for every population, for every age group, for every generation of clients that you serve. Like it's different for everyone. But if I'm this high achieving perfectionist, where am I going to go to find a therapist? I might go to Google. Probably safe to say I'm going to go to Google. So making sure that SEO is really clear. I might I might look on Instagram, but the thing about Instagram is I'm not usually going to Instagram looking for a therapist. I'm looking for self-help. So Instagram might be helpful, but it's probably not the place I'm going to go for a therapist. I might go to Psych Today. I'd probably talk to someone in my life, especially as a therapy has sort of been destigmatized. We're talking about it more often. Hey, you've had a great experience in therapy. Tell me about your therapist. And all of a sudden, we have a friend of the high achieving perfectionist referring someone. So we have to be meeting your client where they already are. I see a lot of therapists feel like they need to build out this like super robust marketing plan to attract full fee clients. Your full fee clients are not really that many places. If you can just get clear on what places those are and be there and show up there with your expertise, with your empathy, with your connection, that's all that they're really looking for. So it's about creating awareness in the right places, which leads me beautifully into this last one around social media. How important is it to have a Facebook page for marketing and SEO? If it is important, how often do you need to post on it and have it active? If you have been around here for any length of time, we have shared with you that if you do not want to be on social media for your practice, you do not have to. I'll say that again. If you do not want to be on social media for your practice, you do not have to. Now, can it be helpful? Absolutely, especially if you serve a population that spends a lot of time there. But we have to recognize what people are looking for and needing when they open up Facebook or open up Instagram versus what you provide. I don't go to Instagram looking to schedule a consult with a therapist. Now I might follow a therapist if I find them, which is also difficult sometimes. And I might follow them for a while and then I might reach out for a consult and oh wait, you actually don't even live in my state. And there's a little bit of challenge there. So we don't necessarily view social media if it's something you choose to use as a client generation tool, although it can. And I want to be very clear on that. If you love that, there are strategies out there to get clients that way. So please hear me on that. Most of the clients we serve, most of the clinicians we serve aren't huge fans of it. It's not a strategy we teach, but there are some great resources out there. What we view social media as is instead kind of a supplement to your other marketing. So if I am on your beautiful premium level website as a self-pay client and I see your Instagram feed at the bottom and I click over and I get to connect with you a little bit more and I see a little bit about your vibe and your approach, that is just going to bolster the trust and connection that I already feel with you. So that's how we view social media, and that's why it is not mission critical to your marketing the way that, for instance, a solid website is. You're not going to be evaluated in the same way by whether or not you're on social media the way you are evaluated if you do or do not have a good website. So it's not really the measuring stick in the same way. So I do want to note though that as we sort of study and we are like regularly looking at SEO trends and things like that, as we look at kind of where SEO is headed, we do see that Google in particular is going to really appreciate and honor people that have a larger kind of digital footprint. So that means that you are not just on your website on the internet. You maybe have a YouTube channel, or you're on Instagram, or you guest blog, or you're mentioned in places. But having a larger presence on the internet than just your sole website, directory profiles, all of those things are increasing the size of your footprint. So I say that if being on social media is interesting to you, if you have the bandwidth to devote some consistent time to it, great. Is it going to be the thing that offers you a windfall of clients into your practice? No, it's very unlikely to do that for you. So it's not a place that we recommend starting or prioritizing early on in your marketing. But if your marketing is doing really well and you want to just kind of further supplement it, that's when we would recommend bringing in social media. These days, Facebook pages, very difficult to get your content seen. Less used than Instagram for most populations. And so if you are going to be diving into social media, Instagram would likely be where we would suggest kind of devoting your time and energy. So kind of a twofold answer on that one. Alrighty, some good follow-up questions. So Rudy asked, can you give some more examples of micro niches? Yes. Some other good examples of micro niches. Survivors of suicide loss. A client of ours serves law enforcement spouses, entrepreneurs, although that's becoming a little bit larger. I even consider OCD. OCD is a very large market, but it is a very specific, kind of niche. So OCD would fit under there. I mentioned client anxiety. Adoption and foster care would be another good example of micro niches. I'm going through the clients we've worked with and the students we've served. What else? Hopefully that's helpful. You can see that these are like if you consider anxiety a specialty, climate anxiety, OCD are sort of like these subspecialties underneath. Grief and loss, um, survivors of suicide loss, adoption and foster care would be sort of under that grief and loss as well, relationships, things like that. Polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, those kink, things like that. Those would be considered micro niches, although again, they're growing markets, which is one of the reasons we recommend micro niches. So it's kind of those subspecialties, something that kind of falls under is a particular type of another population, another presenting issue. That's what we would consider a micro niche. Heather said they think that's normal and how everyone else should be. You're exactly right. You're exactly right, Heather. Radhi said, can you repeat all the questions that one would want to hit when targeting their audience in relation to their specific niche? Yes, Radhi. And this was referencing our free niche quiz. If you haven't taken our free niche quiz, we've gotten incredible feedback on it, and we want it to be super, super valuable. walkerstrategyco.com/niche-quiz. But that was sort of what I was referencing here. So the question to ask yourself, what was I saying? I know in what context did I say those questions? I was rattling them off. What type or how do we connect with what type of person this client is, what types of challenges this client is experiencing, what this client wants to get out of therapy or achieve, and what type of experience this client is looking for in therapy. Those would be the questions that you want to think about. And those are the types of things that you can sort of target your niche around. So again, that niche quiz, walkerstrategyco.com/niche-quiz will be really helpful in excavating what is true of you and of your clients and ultimately of your niche. So, alrighty, friends, this was a lot of fun. We will do another Ask Me Anything here soon. Maybe we'll even do it where you submit the questions live. Or something like that. But we covered a lot of ground here. I imagine that even if I didn't answer your specific question, some of this was relevant to you. I hope it was helpful in one way or another. I love getting to support you guys and serve you, and we sure are cheering for you. If you need anything here in the group, please don't ever hesitate to make a post, ask for feedback. Questions of all kinds, even the ones you think are dumb, are welcomed here. We are glad you're here and excited to support you. You're so welcome. Thanks for being here, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.